Your brand is not a logo. So join me on episode 124 because if your brand is not a logo, then let's have a chat about what your brand actually is. Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Well, hey there. Welcome to episode 124 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you, as always, for lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of choices, and I really do appreciate you making little old me one of them. I am, of course, the host, Jen Donovan. If you're a first-time listener, then hey, I'm so happy to have you here. And if you're back, then I am equally as happy to have you back as well. I am a marketing thought leader, a digital strategist, and coach for small business owners. And basically, I just love marketing and I love small business. And I'm just hoping that I can encourage you to make marketing a priority in your business, because I know if you want to grow, you need to learn to market yourself. This week's podcast is actually sponsored by Noonan Showcase Jewelers in Cobram in Victoria. Kath, one of the owners, has pink hair and oh my God, she's just adorable and knows her stuff around jewelry. Oh my gosh, so much. They have been in business for over 49 years in Cobram. Kath works alongside a master jeweler and can actually custom make some special pieces just for you. So if you watch their Instagram or their Facebook at all, often you will see a whole bunch of unused, unworn jewelry, and they take it, they melt it down, and they make a piece of really unforgettable jewelry. I'm always so jealous when I see that on their feed, thinking one day I will have the courage to do it myself. Anyway, if you are interested in some beautiful pieces, or in fact in getting something remodeled, then go and have a chat to Kath and her team. You will find them at 91 Punt Road, Cobram, or of course you can contact them through their Instagram feed or on Facebook, of course. And P.S., their Instagram feed is really, really quite beautiful. So support Noonan's Showcase Jewelers. You will not be sorry, and there is just so much beautiful stuff to have a look at. But on to this week's episode. I had the pleasure this week of doing an interview with Shivani, who has The Remarkable Woman. The Remarkable Woman is a mentor movement for women, and I'm actually lucky enough to be one of their mentors. The interview with Shivani and her members was all about branding and personal branding. And I had such a wonderful conversation with her around branding and realised I hadn't done a podcast around branding for quite some time. So I thought I would love to have this conversation with you as well here today. So like I said at the very start, let's start with what branding is not. And branding, or your business branding, is not a logo. Your logo is certainly part of your branding, but it isn't your branding. And look, we have many graphic artists and creators to thank for that over many years. Because when we think branding, that's exactly what we think. We think about our logo. And of course, we go and get our branding done and you take it to a graphic artist and they talk colours and fonts and logos, but this isn't actually your branding. It is an important part of it, again, like I said, but it isn't it. So what is branding? Well, it's kind of a little bit like marketing. Branding is everything. It's your likability and your enthusiasm mixed up nicely with what people say about you or your business when you're not in the room. Also known as what you want to be famous for. And of course, what you want to be famous for is exactly that. What do you want people to say about you to someone when you're not in the room? For instance, should someone say, you should work with Jen Donovan. She knows her marketing and works with small business owners, especially rural ones. If someone said that about me, then it's like, yay, my branding has worked. That's me. But if they said something like, you should work with Jen Donovan, she gets so much free PR. You should go and see if she can help you get some. That's okay. I love that people are talking about me, but once they reach out, I'd probably send them on to someone like Jemima Ashley, whose whole business it is around getting people PR. And, shout out to Jem. She's the one who helps me get all my PR as well. But it's not my niche. Yes, it's something I'm good at, but it's not what I want to be famous for. I want to be famous for marketing. So I could help, but I'm probably not exactly what they're looking for. So we want our brand to be who we want it to be, we want to attract the people who want and need the services or the products that we're actually putting out there. So what would you like someone to say about you or your business? When you're not in the room, do you have your branding right so they know exactly what to say or recommend or refer about you? So do they know exactly what to say to someone standing in front of them going, can you help me with X? And they're like, oh my God, yes, I've got just the right person for you. Because that's how clear your brand needs to be. So let's have a bit of a chat on how you get that clear on your brand. So I've got 3 steps, which, of course I'm always an overachiever. So there's slightly more than 3 steps. So let's call them 3 steps for getting clear on your branding. So the first one is start with the end in mind. What's the goal of the brand? What's those big, hairy, audacious goals that you have for the brand? What do you want to be famous for? We need to start here and we need to work backwards. Like designing a business around you and starting at the end with that end in mind, getting your branding exactly as it needs to be to help you reach your goals, then you need to start at the end. We need to know what the end goal is. And once we know that end goal, step 2 is we need to get clear on our brand values, our mission, and our vision statements. We need to know our why. And I know that knowing your why in inverted commas is something we hear about a lot. And for some of you, it might sound a little bit wishy-washy. We've totally got Simon Sinek to blame for this whole why movement. But knowing your why and why you do what you do is such an important part of knowing what it is that you want to achieve, knowing what it is that you want to be famous for. If you've never worked on your why or your vision or your mission or your brand values, then it's time to do some research and time to do some work on that. Regardless of whether you're a startup or you've been in business a while, branding is never set in stone. It does need to move with you as you move through your business and what it is that you want to be famous for. And look, let's totally forget the corporate speak and let's write from the heart. So vision and mission statement seems so corporate, but let's forget about that. Let's just write from our heart, that heart marketing. So what is a vision and mission statement? Let's be just a little bit clear here. So your vision statement is focused on tomorrow, what the business or you want to become, not what you are now, what you want to become. What are your hopes and your dreams? What problem do you hope to solve? And who and what are you inspiring to change? So that's what a vision statement is. It's focused on tomorrow as opposed to your mission statement that is more today focused. What the business does now, what we do, who we serve, and how we serve them. That is your mission statement. So missions are based on today's activity. Vision, obviously, a vision for the future, is based on tomorrow. So if we look at my vision and mission statement, and look, they're not perfect, but this is what I have. So my mission is to ensure every small business owner makes marketing a priority in their business. So that's my mission. That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me up at night. That's what wakes me up in the morning is I've got another small business owner who I need to change their attitude to about marketing. I need to make them make marketing a priority in their business. Whereas my vision is to have my clients go from invisible to invincible to boost their profile, their audience, and their profit so they can earn what they're worth and make a bigger difference in the world. So that's my holistic vision is what I want for my clients. And of course, my values need to embody my entire business, and my values come out of both my vision and mission and me. This is my business. So my values, my business values are based around me. And your business values should be somewhere that people could see, just like your vision and mission. For instance, your website should have all that on it. Maybe they're not under headings, business values, mission or vision, but somewhere people need to be able to know what your vision, mission and business values actually are. Because people buy from people that they align themselves with, who have the same values as what they do. So then we go on to step 3, and that is work on who your target audience is. So if you've been in my world for a while, this is all becoming a little bit familiar. Know who your who is, know what you want to be famous for, know where they hang out. This is what we're talking. This is marketing 101. But of course, it's also branding 101. We've got to understand the person you are wanting to buy from you, knowing the person back to front, front to back, and back again. We need to know this person who we're asking to part with their hard-earned money. Who is this person? And because you have such a understanding of your audience and who that actually is and what you want to be famous for and what the end goal is for your business, now you can start working on things like your brand voice, your brand tone, language that you are going to use in your brand, and your brand positioning. For instance, are you a Tiffany brand or a Kmart brand? Who is your target audience? That is going to work out where you sit in the marketplace, and your branding is also going to work that out. Now, there are room in the marketplace for Kmart's and there are room in the marketplace for Tiffany's. There's nothing wrong with either. You just need to work out where you want to sit. And once you've done all of that, and only when you've done all of that, can you really start looking at colours and fonts and logos, because that's going to match everything we've talked about, but in that physical form. If you've never Googled, what colours mean and things like that, go and do it. Go hop on Google and have a look at the charts that sort of, especially the ones that give you logos, and they'll show you why, they're golden arches as opposed to blue arches. And they'll show you, all these like KFC, they'll show you why it's red as opposed to purple, and all of that is very, very interesting when you start looking at colours. But you can't pick a colour because you don't know what you want the colour to say, because you're not sure who your audience is or what you want to be famous for or what the end goal of the business is. So that's why we need to start with the end in mind. And one of the simplest ways you can really start cultivating your brand is to stop thinking about your brand as a business. Think of your brand as a person. And in fact, think about your brand as you, especially if you're a solopreneur or a small business owner. So whether you're working in a business or own a business, you do have a personal brand, and you need that personal brand, because people don't buy from brands. They buy from people who embody their own morals and values. And if we do buy from someone or a brand that doesn't have the same values as us, then quite possibly it's because they make themselves so likable and they have such darn enthusiasm that we buy from them anyway because of the way they treat us. So remember, your branding is all about likability, enthusiasm, and knowing what you want to be famous for. So, sometimes we buy from brands because they are just so likable and darn enthusiastic about what they do, despite the fact that perhaps they don't have values that match ours. And I guess, when I think of that, I'm thinking about rather big corporates who perhaps, have products that probably aren't made in a sustainable way as such. All right, so do some work on your branding this week. Think about your branding. Perhaps you need to reach out and ask some trusted sources about your branding and what it says to them, what they think you do, and what they think your brand is saying about you and what it's saying about your business. Because like I said, your brand is so often what people will say about you when you're not in the room. And if you're not in the room to correct them, then they are just going to say what they think your branding is saying. So make sure that this week, or maybe over the weekend, or maybe first thing Monday morning or first thing Thursday morning, whenever you're sort of listening to this podcast, sit down and do some work on your branding and really think about those steps strategically. And if I can help, then book in a discovery call and let's see if I can help you with your branding and perhaps give you some honest feedback about your branding and what your branding actually says about you and your business. Or, of course, you can join my Facebook group, the Like-Minded Business Owners, and you can ask for some feedback in there. It's a really safe space with some amazing people, so you can do that as well. Of course, to book a call, you can go to bit.ly/discover with Jen, and Jen, of course, has 2 N's. But that's it, guys. That's it for another episode 124. Done, dusted, tick. Whoa. So I will be back next Thursday for episode 125. And I look forward to chatting then, or even before, in the Like-Minded Business Owners group, or come and join me on Instagram at @JenDonovan_. If you're enjoying this podcast, then can I ask you a little favor? Can you hit the subscribe button and maybe go and take maybe about 2.5 minutes out of your day and leave me a rating and a review wherever you're listening to this podcast? I would so appreciate that. Anyway, I'll see you next week. But whatever you do, my small business peeps, remember, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
No time like the present. Tell it like you feel it, say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.
I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Yorta Yorta people, on which I record this podcast and conduct my business today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend this respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today as well.